Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tech AI Solution Podcast today. Today, we have a guest, Jack Nagy from MTA360. So, introduce yourself, Jackie, and tell us what you do and what your company do.
Okay, great. Thank you. Name is Jack Nagy, CEO of MTA360 and the founder. So this is our 21st year in business. And my background, I grew up in the home improvement space. My father was a contractor and spent my career at different levels in the home improvement space, that of a contractor, sale distributor, and my last 14 years in the Train world with the Train family, Train Air Conditioning. MTA specializes in home improvement. We focus on about 20 different verticals, but the main verticals are HVAC, plumbing, electrical, solar, and
Mm-hmm.
roofing. When I say main, we're capable of anything, but those are the ones we have the most clients in.
Mm-hmm.
And what the clients like about us is we truly understand their business. We understand their business model. So whether a client wants to speak to me about business, I have an MBA, so no problem. Okay. We have clients that still will call me and are asking me technical issues about train equipment that's older and they're not sure. So they're like, really, so I also have an electrical engineering degree. So I'm kind of a diverse person, and I feel our company is diverse. What makes us successful is understanding how to be students of our customers' needs, adapt and evolve to what the customer needs. When it comes to the internet, whether we like it or not, it's Google's world. Okay. And, so when you get into that, maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead, but very passionate about what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And when, Google has an update and, some of the common things that you hear in the digital space, they're all too common. And are they real or not? And I won't get into that. If you have any questions on that, I'm happy to address it. But the first thing is Google has a major update or they evolve in an update. So the first step is to understand what that update is. Does it affect our clients' businesses? Because it doesn't all the time. Sometimes it does. And then what do
Mm-hmm.
you do about it? So it's not just identifying what the update is. It's more importantly, after you identify it, what do you do about it? So we're a very heavy technology company. We're a full service ad agency. So we can do when I first started in the business, when I first launched MTA, all we did was legacy advertising. And then we launched the digital team in 2010. So that's a little bit about us and myself.
Thanks, Jackie, for introducing. And I think you mentioned that you have been into this business for more than 21 years, right?
21 years.
And if I have to put in the simple words, how does this company work is you have a client mostly in the home services business, and if they want some kind of a help in either in a marketing, either in growing up or scaling up, you help them out in doing that. And mostly you also go for the startup companies or the bootstrap companies or the companies that just started and want to grow, and they reach you guys and you help them having their go-to market strategy. Is this right?
We're not one size fits all, and that
Mm-hmm.
includes our client base. We
Mm-hmm.
have clients that are small companies. Sometimes they are a startup, and from a revenue standpoint, do well under $1 million a year.
Okay.
Uh, we have other clients that are owned by a private equity group, and the private equity companies can do over $1 billion in revenue. So we take our position, and it's no different than if somebody's going to come and put a new AC system in your house. They're just not going to come in and say, "Well, we'll be here tomorrow to install the 3-ton unit." Well, do you take a 2-ton, a 2.5, a 3, a 5? What do you take? So we're a consultative type of organization. We look at each client as their own individual needs. We understand what they are. We have 5 levels of SEO. We build natural backlinks, have 6 different levels of that, but we'll customize anything. So it's not just like, it's not just flip the switch, here we go. We want to understand the client, want to understand what their needs are. And very important, what's their budget? So sometimes a client
Yeah.
may want to capture, a market, a city, a town that has millions of people, but they don't have the
Mhm.
budget to support it. So, okay, well, let's go after and win some neighborhoods and then they can grow when we grow with them.
That's good. I think you have covered all. I think you're dealing with the small companies. You're dealing with the mid-sized company. You're dealing with the higher revenue companies. So
Yep.
it's like you're covering every company in the market, and that's good.
Yep.
Like you were targeting everything. That's good to know that. And if I have to put the services that your company is doing, is it's like a marketing. They are doing marketing for them. They are running the ad campaigns for their clients. This is how it works.
Okay, so I personally view marketing as like building a house. You got to excavate. So maybe that's our research. You got to excavate, or footings, stem walls, and then a slab. And that
Mm-hmm.
to us, to build that foundation before we suggest we go vertical. And vertical would be going into quite often legacy advertising, but let me regress a little bit. So that foundation is going to be a great website, and we're very diverse on the type of sites that we could build. We build a great website. Then we implement SEO. We built our own software to utilize to perform SEO with. It doesn't make the third-party software companies that have those products bad in any way, shape, or form. We just wanted our software to do more, to be more intuitive, to make our analysts more efficient. People are like, oh, you just want your analysts to spend less time on a campaign. No, we want our analysts to be as productive as possible so they can drive the campaign results, because that's how we get judged. Our clients, if you say, are you happy? Well, yeah, my phone's ringing. I'm growing my business. I'm happy.
Yeah.
If the phone's not ringing, then they're not happy. Then we recommend backlink creation. A lot of digital companies do not create backlinks. I won't get into detail on that. But
Mm-hmm.
backlinks are, depending upon who you listen to. Most will say backlinks are about 25% of Google's rankings factor. That's subjective and it could be discussed. And then we're big on creating content in very unique ways, and the big buzzword today, is AI. That's like everybody
Yeah.
wants to know about AI. We view AI, I think, very similar to a number of companies that have close relationships with, and including Google, meaning they don't see like us. We don't see AI being the tip of the spear. We see AI as a great tool and resource to make you more efficient and to help you be more successful with AI,
Mm-hmm.
with SEO, I should say. So,
Yeah.
some people say, well, AI can do everything. We haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Maybe one day you'll be speaking to, an avatar instead of Jack,
Yeah.
or, someone else. But right now we see AI as a very powerful tool, but you got to manage the tool. It's not put it on autopilot and sit back and watch.
Thank you, Jackie, for your putting out your perspective out of it. So, since you've been in this market from a very long time, so how do you see the current shift of this market or marketing industry that you see? What is current shift that is industry moving towards today? So, what's your thought on that? Like, where it
Well,
is moving?
okay, if we're speaking to the two sides here, so and I'm not sure if you're thinking or focusing on how do we see the home improvement industry evolving, or how do you see, the marketing of that industry evolving? And I'm happy to discuss both. So
Marketing. Let's go with the marketing one. How this
the
marketing for
marketing,
the home
right?
service industry is
So
moving.
right. What we see with marketing is no question SEO is more difficult than ever. You must evolve with it. We have a full-time R&D department that's all they do. So like I said, AI will help in some areas, but it still takes knowledgeable people. So
Mm-hmm.
what we see is, if we look at the sales funnel of marketing, utilizing AI correctly, we can kind of shorten that funnel, meaning there's an opportunity to get people into the funnel that are closer to wanting to make a purchase. Okay.
Yeah.
We also see the expansion of social media platforms, including TikTok. So when we evaluate what we're going to do, we're looking at not just, it's all about Google. And yes, that's still the majority of the lead gen, but how do we do other things? One of the mysteries, I don't think it's a mystery to us, is, when somebody does a search and they're really looking for information, like who are the 10 best HVAC companies in Chicago? And they do a search and, Google's AI realizes that they're looking for information and they'll actually bring up a snippet and maybe a little bit more you could expand to. And they're
Mm-hmm.
bringing up like the top 10 that they show. And we're very successful getting our companies to show up, if not first, pretty close to it. So there are ways, and we coach and we mentor the client on the
Mm-hmm.
things that we would like them to do because we realize that Google tends to put some focus on that and it helps in the growth on that side that's not directly searched. Somebody says, searches who's the best AC company near me. Google's going to give a list. Okay. So you might
Mm-hmm.
have LSA and then GBP, the MOPS, and then below it. So, I mean, we focus on, and we're more than capable. We have a lot of clients that we do AdWords with or PPC, but our bread and butter is SEO, and our results are
Yeah,
phenomenal. So, but
that's it.
that's the way. And certain, I'm sorry, certain, again, what's the client's budget? So, am I building a 2,000 square foot home
Yeah.
or a 15,000 square foot home? We do a lot with OTT streaming TV. It's become really popular, really successful. We create the commercials. So that's what I see. But I don't see it. I see it as a journey, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
just an ongoing journey, ongoing process. Two things that won't change in a sales
Yeah.
driven organization is generate a lead and close the sale. The question is, how do you generate the lead? What's the best efficient way? And then, of
Mm.
course, ensuring that you have a good sales process.
Yeah. One thing I really like about the thing that you mentioned, that along with the solutions that you provide for to your client, you also like guide them and coach them how exactly this is moving and how they can use it for their benefit. And that's one thing important for a company, that along you just not give them the solution, you guide them the solutions, how exactly we are achieving the results for you. And that's a good thing to say in this market. So coming to the next question now, which is one thing that is currently in, if I talk about your business only, so which is one thing that is currently going perfectly well, and which is one thing that you are being frustrating about, like you want to just improve that overnight? What are those two things?
Well, first off, frustrations can be maybe not totally eliminated, but
Mm-hmm.
eliminate it by setting proper expectations. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very pleased with our new websites, our next gen sites that we rolled out. We have a great solution for companies that have multiple locations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe anyone has anything like this at this point in time. And there's a reason for it. And, again, this was another thing. We saw something that Google was doing, and we're like, how do we address it? So we created a strategy to do that with. So I'm very pleased with our website offerings at this point, extremely affordable. And so I'm happy with the evolution of the SEO. And that's always been our bread and butter. We have clients that are generating leads under $10 a lead, and people are like, that's not possible. Well, I'll show you. Here's their names. Call them, see what they say. And by the way, they've been with us for 10 years, and people are like, no one's faced with a digital company for 10 years. Okay. So I say frustrated. Again, it's more to the expectation. People at times believe that PPC or SEM or Google AdWords
Mm-hmm.
is going to take them to the promised land. And they don't understand quite often what the cost of generating a lead is from AdWords,
Yeah.
especially in competitive markets. The Google Guaranteed, or LSA, as it's called, is frustrating to clients too. So my frustrations are they're tied at the hip with our clients' frustration. And we
Mm-hmm.
try to do the best we possibly can in setting an honest expectation. But sometimes, whether we're not presenting it right or whether they're not hearing it the way we mean it, there's a frustration like, okay, it's costing me, you know, X amount of dollars to get a lead with AdWords. It's way too expensive. Yeah, it's expensive, in major markets. Sure, it is. And, we do our homework, we reverse engineer to see what we think the number of leads they'll generate from AdWords. I'm not opposed to AdWords, but
Mm-hmm.
there's times we're blending it with other products like Yelp and social media and such is going to give the client a much more palatable solution. They'll feel better about it when they look at the average cost per lead rather than just the cost per lead from AdWords.
So if I have to say, like, the frustration is getting the right client, that would be the frustration part.
Now, the frustration is ensuring that the client, that we set the proper expectations for the client and the client understands what they should expect.
Okay.
That's, I think, what's most,
Yeah.
important, right? I mean, if you buy a pickup that has a 6-cylinder engine in it, and you're trying to tow a 9 or 10,000 pound boat, you may not be happy with the results when you go up a hill. If it's explained to you and look, what are you going to tow with this pickup? And they tell you that's probably not the right, that's not the right expectation.
Mm.
That's really, the frustration may not be, it might be a little bit of disappointment. I mean, we care about our clients, and
Yeah.
uh, we don't want them to be disappointed. And I've had clients, which I still have, good clients, who have asked us to do things where I said, no, I don't want to do it. And they're
Oh,
like, well, why won't you? Because it will not work. And
okay.
sure enough, they come back to us and say, yeah, you were right. I didn't say that because I want to tell them, I told you so. I told them that because it's the truth. And that's
Mhm.
just who we are, honest and ethical.
And I think you mentioned a lot in your conversation about the AI, but I also believe that at the current situation, AI is like assistant to us rather than a competitor. So how far you have implemented AI in your organization, so for all these SEO optimizations or marketing campaign, anything, like how do you have implemented AI so far in your company?
Well, from a basic, AI can generate content. Okay,
Yep.
so but we don't just say AI is going to generate content, and then there you go, whatever it generates, you just publish it. No, you really, and there is times where by the time you edit something that AI created, you are almost at a point where you say, man, I could have wrote this, my as quickly. Okay, so AI is
Yeah.
very helpful on content. AI is helpful
Mm.
on keyword research. So I think what's important to us is that, look, many years ago when we first rolled out the digital side, so we're talking over 10 years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to get keywords in front of Google, so they understand. Today, it's important to create content in line with their eat, so that you're giving them the content that they like, but you're also providing content for the user so that they understand it's more informative to them. That's obviously what Google wants. But now, wait a
Mm-hmm.
second. Now we have a third entity at the table, and that's AI.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the AI agents that you also have to be aware of in what you're doing so they understand it and such. So AI can be as basic as, oh, it's, going to create content, or, it can be used for, creative, help the our artists, do some creative design. But it could also be very, very sophisticated. And we're smart. I was smart enough. We were smart enough. My CTO is brilliant, and he's like, Jack, I understand this pretty good, but there's people who understand it better. And a couple of years ago, we went out and hired a couple of PhD consultants on AI before the average person even knew what the heck AI was. So you got to try to stay ahead of the curve. And frankly, it's not inexpensive to do it.
Yeah.
But if you don't, I think you just get left behind.
I agree. I completely agree. So how many people are working with you? Like how many employees are you have currently working with?
Adding in the new employees right now, we're at 74 employees. Both
Okay.
and the company was set up in like three pieces that are all work
Hmm.
as one. We have a
Okay.
fulfillment team, and my first focus when we launched IT, we launched digital services, was fulfillment. Because look,
Okay.
there's a lot of very friendly people. They're really good interpersonal skills, and they can
Mm-hmm.
sell. But if
Yeah.
you don't provide results, how long does that last? So
Yeah.
we have fulfillment, and that's the larger number of people is in fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have a support team inside
Mm-hmm.
support consultants that support the clients, and we have some clients that want to have weekly reviews. They have a dashboard. We built the dashboard. It's available 24/7, but they want to have a
Mm-hmm.
quality every week. Other clients, large clients, at least once a month. And then probably the majority of clients realistically say, hey, don't call me, I'll call you, type
Okay.
of thing. So, like, whatever the client wants, we adapt to the client. We don't ask them to adapt to us.
That's good. That's a good part. Uh, for the sales part, like how you currently go for your client? Like if you have to look for client for new client in the market, how do you go for that? How do you search for that? What's your current channels
Well,
of doing that?
it's a combination. We have quite a few manufacturers that endorse us.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we get a fair amount of inbound leads, relationships with distributors, some of the largest distributors, not the largest distributor of HVAC in the country, maybe the world. It's
Mm-hmm.
relationships, but it's establishing credibility.
Yeah.
We don't go out there as used car salespeople. But we do some marketing. I don't have the largest sales team by far, but
Mm-hmm.
we have very knowledgeable people in sales, and they don't come across as used car salespeople. They come across as knowledgeable people. And if you want to see why you should engage with us, let us show you results, because that's what
Yeah.
it's all about, is the results.
Result speaks for itself, right?
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think if it would be right to put that most of your sales is coming from the organic search and organic referrals, right?
Yeah, like I said, it's
Yeah.
most of our sales come, they're inbound. We do outbound
Yeah.
calling. We form relationships with
Mm-hmm.
manufacturers and distributors, and we do a lot of, I guess sometimes people call them lunch and learn. So we go out there and sometimes it's Zoom. We do a lot of Zoom, but there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing like getting in front of people and meeting them
Yeah.
and such. And I would say we have a lot of clients, and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of them I would consider, as well as being a client, a good friend.
Exactly. I think now let's go for the last question. So, where do you see this company from from now to 6 to 12 months? Where do you see this company going?
I see us growing with I've put a very significant focus on what I would say is creating a stellar all-star team. I mean
Mm-hmm.
this sincerely. We recently placed ads on LinkedIn for less than a week, and we got 600 resumes. So that was pretty incredible. And people make the company. The
Yes.
owner can guide, but the manager can guide their players, but the players win or lose the game. And I just feel that we need the best of the best. I feel that's who we've hired. I'm thrilled with them. Brought in another gentleman who's going to brilliant on the technical side. Just focus on supporting the support people. Just another piece, another dimension that I feel we've had, but not at a high enough level. So to me, it's knowledge. And when I say this, I don't want anybody to take it any way except in a positive manner. Knowledge is power. Okay.
Exactly.
And I don't mean that in a nasty way, but people respect people that are knowledgeable, and they want to do business with knowledgeable people because they trust them. They have
Yeah.
faith in them. They have confidence in them. And that's who we are, and that's what I want to do. So I see, and I will tell you, the home improvement industry, in particular HVAC, did not have a good year. It's not having a good year. A
Yes.
number of different reasons. It's not good. Well, we've had a good year, and next year we're
Mm-hmm.
going to have a great year. And it's simple. There's business out there, no matter what, and we're going to help our clients get it.
Exactly. I also follow the same theory that if you want to work with a bit better people, hire better people. So what I do is like I hire people smarter than me so that I can learn from them. So my most of the employees are like most techie person, most a marketing good person. So that's a good approach. Like always work or surround with yourself with the people who are more smarter than you so that you can learn from them and you can better build a good business. Okay. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jack, for being on the podcast today. It's a really nice talk to you.
Same here. Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, for listening this podcast. Please do subscribe and share.